Hello, today is the 27th of March and today I'm going to be planting some parsnips, some courgettes and some parsley. The dates that are given on the packets for planting these things outside obviously spread over a period of time. I tend to go for the earlier times right at the beginning because this is southern England, so it's warmer. Obviously the dates they give for planting have to be kind of generic for the country, and if you're a lot further north you'd want to consider planting at a slightly later time because it's no good putting stuff in the ground when it's too cold for it to germinate. Anyway, I'm going to start with the parsnips. The things I find helpful to grow parsnips are, well, firstly to use a different section of ground each year to try and rotate as much as possible. There are nematodes and other problems that can affect parsnips and that live in the soil, so trying different places or having different places where they've not grown for a while is really useful. The other thing I do, and I think I've talked about this before, is to have what I think of as a pot in the ground, where I make a hole, and you can see some holes have been made here with a bulb planter, and I've also extended them slightly below the bottom of the bulb planter depth with a metal rod that I put in and turned around. And I'm going to backfill the holes with the compost that I made and described in video 19. I'm not going to put too much additional fertilisation with it. It needs some, it needs well drained fertile soil, but if there's too much nitrogen, and that's true of any plant where you're not looking for green growth, you're looking for roots, there's too much nitrogen, it doesn't help the growth of the root that you're looking for. And the other thing is that having this nice fine soil compost in the holes means that there are no clumps of earth, there are no stones, and they are certainly things that can cause the parsnips to split or fork, and you want one long straight-ish parsnip. So having this very nice compost filling the holes is ideal for giving the parsnips the best chance, and also to allow them to go down into the ground without any complications. The next thing I'm going to do is to plant my parsnip. I'm planting Gladiator F1, which I found to be quite successful. I'm going to put them about a centimetre deep, and I'm just going to put, because they take a long time to germinate, but they do germinate very well, I find. So I'm just going to put two in the space about a centimetre down. Okay. And when I've done all the holes, I will water them in well. The next thing I'm going to plant today is a courgette. I'm aiming at just the one. In the past I have grown them in this bed, and one has taken over. They grow like triffids. This year I'm going to try a slightly different variety, which I hope will be a little bit smaller and a bit more in control, but courgettes do their own thing. You blink and a courgette is a marrow, as you probably know. So I'm planting it in this bed, which is where I've stored compost from the compost bins and where there's quite a lot of space. I'm just going to make 4 holes about a centimetre deep in the top of the compost. I'm planting, the germination rate is usually very high, but as there's a space and as I'm not sure what I'll do with the seeds anyway, I might as well take a belt and braces approach and plant 4 seeds. Now you notice that I am planting them directly into the ground. And Mother Nature is awfully good at growing things where perhaps I'm not quite as good. I think I learnt that one day when I tried to raise a load of beetroot plants into modules and nothing seemed to be growing. So I gave up, tipped them out on the garden. A week later they all started to grow. The lesson I've taken from that is don't interfere with nature. If something will grow in the ground, let it. So, but what I'm going to do to give this a bit of a chance, because it's still quite cold, I'm going to put I'm going to water it first. Water those seeds in. Then I'm going to put a cloth over the top of it to protect it a bit from the cold and to make it just a fraction warmer and just to help it with its germination. So that is the courgette plant planted. The final thing I'm going to do today is to plant some parsley. I'm looking for 2 plants actually, one here and one over there. They are quite big plants when they eventually grow, and they last a very long time. We are still in March harvesting the parsley and using that for cooking from last year. So I'm going to plant a variety that I do every year called Mrch. I've prepared a small section of ground here and there's an identical one over there, just by digging in some organic matter and flattening it down. I'm then going to sprinkle quite a few seeds. I only need 1 actually to germinate, but give them a good chance by putting several down. So I'm just going to put a little bit of my own compost that I made in video 19 just over the top, just to protect the seeds a little bit. I'm just going to water that in a way that doesn't disturb the seeds. It's very important with seeds, especially small seeds, as I showed with the leeks, to keep a very careful eye and make sure they don't dry out, because if they do dry out, that will stop them from germinating. So I will be doing my very best to make sure that this area of ground stays moist until I see the seeds germinating. And the final thing I'm going to do at this point, just to give them a little bit of extra heat and protection, is just put a cloth over where the seeds have been planted. Okay, well, thank you for watching today. I hope you've found something in the planting of parsnips, courgettes and parsley that you find interesting and might want to try yourself. Goodbye.